بله نگاه کن پشت اون تپه نگاه کن اون ته دیگه اونها معلومه که رو تپه
سیادره
آره دیگه اینا
سیادره است یعنی
آره دیگه نوشته رو دامنه کو دیگه
Abbas Kiarostami once said that he does not like films that arouse the viewer emotionally, give him advice, belittle him, or burden him with a sense of guilt. In fact, he prefers films that are kind enough to allow their audience a nice little nap in the theatre. Those films, he believes, have lasting power. Minimalist in style, Kiarostami's films are about people going on about their lives and how we, the audience, have managed to glimpse only a part of them. Yet, the films stay with us long after they are over. I believe that to achieve this effect, Kiarostami uses a cleverly thought out sound design, in addition to the narrative structure and cinematography. In his films, sound is not invisible. It tells the story as much as the images do, becoming one of the narrators, as it were. This short film is an excellent example. It is the story of three helpless seagull eggs that are washed away by the sea at high tide. A story without people or even animals, but the film is a classical narrative in every sense. Every time the waves crash against the shore, threatening to take the eggs out, we hear the amplified sound of screeching seagulls. This heightens the drama, and we fear the loss of the eggs as much as the birds do. But the truth is, there were no seagulls at the location. Kiarostami used non-diegetic sound of the birds as diegetic sound and placed it strategically for dramatic effect. For a few minutes during this 17-minute film, the sea calms down and offers a reprieve, demonstrated through a consistently quieter soundtrack. But the waves return to gulp down the last remaining eggs, and what follows is a series of loud screeching by the birds, as if lamenting the loss of life. Over visuals of the empty nest, a piece of ominous music gradually fades in, supplementing and not dictating the established mood. Of the series of films Kiarostami made for the Institute of Intellectual Development of Children and Young Adults in Iran is this story of a morning in the life of an old man. A horse carriage rumbles down empty lanes. All the other ambient sounds are muted to highlight the sound of the carriage. As the carriage approaches us, its sound is amplified, highlighting proximity and heightening tension. Until an obstacle lies in the carriage's way, and we wonder why the man doesn't immediately move away. Kiarostami uses this switch from objective to subjective sound throughout the film to show how the character's disability determines a day in his life. It uses the same principle to take a lighter look at the disability. The old man switches off from the animated chattering of a cobbler, which is remarkably similar to the clanking of metal in the background. When the man reaches home, he leaves the door ajar, but an inadvertent action by a boy from the neighborhood creates the next little problem. He switches off from the loud drilling sound but remains unaware that his granddaughters have returned home. The friends begin to join them, calling out to the old man together. Until almost an entire class calls out to him and a hint of their chorus finally reaches the old man's ears. Sound in this film also plays a metaphorical role. It talks about the need for compassion for the disabled and the importance of raising your voice together. This film makes us question what objective sound is. Is it not also subjective sound heard by others? Then, is all sound subjective? The Wind Will Carry Us, a film in which I believe the sound design is possibly more powerful than the visuals. At the very least, it seems to determine how the film was shot. Behzad, a journalist from Tehran, travels with his crew to a little village in the interiors, waiting for the death of a woman who is more than 100 years old. This film questions the natural voyeuristic tendency of a storyteller, the access he can claim to the lives of others, and the boundaries he must be aware of.
ماست شغلیم نه تو شغل سوم ما گشت مهمتره سختره
آقا گفتم اسک نگیر بعد کردم دوربین پیدا کردم دادم بشه
پشتم سر جاش
To achieve this effect, Kiarostami uses three principles. First is the violation of sound perspective. What seems to be happening a long distance away is brought closer to us, making us privy to the character's experience. Among the examples is the conversation between Behzad and his crew on their way to an unknown village. His struggle to reach higher ground every time his boss calls. And when he meets the witty doctor, who readily shares with him his philosophy of life. The second is the use of amplified sound, common sounds that are highlighted above the ambient sound of the village. They are allowed to linger, giving us a feel of the texture of the place. Like the tapping of the walking stick of the old woman's son. The apple rolling down the mud floor of the house. And the digging in the ditch, accompanied by the wind sweeping over the barren space.
درست نیست آدمای خوب میرن بهش آدمای بد میرن جهنم وضو بنویسین بیا بدو
The third and most important principle is the use of sound images.
سلام علیکم.
In this film, sound anticipates and often replaces images, telling us what we can have an access to and what needs to be left alone. There are people we see, like the caretaker lady with whom Behzad dares to discuss the active sex life of people in the village.
به هر حال چرا یه محصولاتی هم هستش که زمستونا میکنن.
مدی نزنم.
تابستونا هم برداشت میکنن.
خب من نزنم.
ان شاء الله همین روزا هم محصولاتش به بار میاد و به مبارکی.
خیلی ممنون.
And the person he gives a lift to. The decision to show him takes the narrative forward, because what he tells Behzad leads him to scold his only friend in the village, Farzad, for not being able to keep a secret.
باشه خیالتون راحت باشه.
There are people we never see, like the man digging the ditch.
سلام. چرا قطع کردی آقا؟ صدای به این قشنگی رو میگم چرا قطع کردی؟
ما یه تعهداتی هم داریم دیگه.
The crew, which remains disinterested in the story,
تعهد دارم نسبت به خانواده‌ام دیگه. منم مثل شما ول کردم اومدم اینجا دارم کار میکنم.
and the digger's girlfriend with whom Behzad crosses the line. He asks to know her name, see her face, but she doesn't comply. Her embarrassment is further highlighted when he recites a poem about the meeting of lovers, and the only other sounds heard are the amplified burning of the oil lamp and the milk falling into the container. Finally, like Behzad, we never see the old woman whose story he came to cover. The woman dies, but Behzad's experience tells him to walk away from the story. From diegetic music, Kiarostami shifts to non-diegetic music in the end, allowing us to contemplate on the meaning of the film. We reconstruct its meaning as we see it, exactly like Kiarostami would have wanted it.